welcome back to part 2, where we're going to talk about reclaiming life. What is life like after prison? So yes, exactly that.
Okay, the first time actually I still remember, if you're coming out from prison, before you come out prison, you make a lot of resolutions. I will do this, I will do that. Those things that I wanted to do all along, the food I like to eat, the people I like to say sorry to, all those things that you tell yourself you will do, which you did do previously. So that's what you wanted to do, but actually when you first step out of Singapore, we call it Singapore, because in prison you are considered not part of Singapore, but
really,
yeah, we call it when you step into Singapore. So what I remember, the first thing we did was that when a group of us left together, that time it was a drug center, DRC. So they have a big bus bringing us from the DRCs to a place in Sana where they do briefing. So during that, already we start smuggling cigarettes already. Want to have a smoke, because in the DRC you don't get to smoke. Legally you don't get to smoke at that time. Legally you don't get to smoke, but of course there are ways of, those days now I heard very strict, almost impossible, but those days still can have access . Okay, this is very honest . So this is the first thing you do . And then all the food that you want to eat, all the promises you keep, once you take the first part of cigarette, all blow up in the air. Then you come back to square one actually. So I would actually encourage many people who actually, when they come out from prison, to not that it's wrong to smoke or right to smoke. Basically, if you can hold on for a while until you think that your life cannot manage, or you got too much stress, then you need to smoke or stick or cigarette, then you go back to smoke cigarette. Other than that, try not even to touch something that interferes with your body natural.
To be honest, my view on how Singapore takes care of their ex-inmates, right, like ex-prisoners and stuff like that, I think that there is really, really help out there. Like, some people say that, it's very hard to, go back into society and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely it is hard lah, but there is help out there. So SSO provide you financially. Yellow Ribbon provides you with jobs. And then there is East Coast. There are a lot of things out there that can actually help you.
Do you think that there are people out there that are just unaware about all this help?
Definitely, of course I was one of them.
Why were you unaware?
Because I just didn't know.
Just to add on first to what Popo has said.
Yeah.
It's difficult. No one said reintegration is going to be easy. No one said that.
But
why?
Life
in itself is already difficult. What more for people with a criminal record?
Is reintegration difficult because of the lifestyles that you were accustomed to prior, or the stigmatization that people have?
Let me ask you a question, Sharda.
Yes, please, because I would love to be asked.
Okay, so if an ex-offender,
yeah,
I'm out, I truly desire a change in life.
Yes.
Would I do just about anything to reach my goal? What is the most difficult thing I know for all ex-offenders trying to reintegrate into society? It is not the stigma that society has about ex-offenders. It is not about the jobs that people will not give us. At the end of the day, it is all about us. If that person doesn't realize that he has a fault that needs to be addressed, he can be given the best programs and best counselors in the world. He will not feel that there is a need to change.
I think I would agree with Bruce, Matthew. I feel like if you personally don't want to change, right, nobody can help you. I felt like coming out, I quit drugs, I quit all of these things, but I still wanted to escape. I went into alcohol. Not to the point where it is affecting and destroying my life, but it's still an addiction, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Apart from that, the only reason, right, that I am currently employed, I'm currently, stable and stuff like that, it's because of a choice that I made. It's not because I was just sitting there playing victim, nobody loved me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of took the step. I feel like that is I think you really, as an addict or as an ex-addict, you really need to take the step to want to improve your life. And help is really out there.
Yeah.
So it's just a step that I took.
You know what he said earlier on?
Yeah.
He said earlier on, there are programs, there are organizations aplenty out there who are willing to help us.
Yeah.
But you ask him, do you know about it? He said no.
At first, yeah.
Yeah, I really
do you
don't
know one thing?
What?
Everyone stepping out of prison is given a piece of paper with all the telephone number and the address and the name of the organization typed onto it, and told, okay, if you need certain help, do this, go and look for this, go and
So
look for
how
that.
come you didn't know about this piece of
Exactly.
paper?
So you tell me how come?
Okay,
So, whose fault is that?
okay lah.
you
My
see?
fault, my fault.
You
Okay, okay,
get
okay,
it.
okay, okay.
So maybe I just want to
Yes,
offer
please.
another point of
Please.
view. lah.
Okay.
Okay, because if you look at ex-offender, maybe you look at three of us, basically got enough education, we speak good English, but you are looking at maybe about 5%, 10%. Maybe you look at some public figure like maybe Benny Sito, Glenn Lim. So they present a very different image of actually, because we run the shelter. People come to us with just a shirt on their back. Sometimes even don't have a shirt on their back. They need clothing. They need. So you're looking at different segment. So I agree with Popo and Bruce in certain extent, but maybe the top 10 or top 20% may be able to actually seek help. The rest actually looking for help.
So if we can see, and we'll talk about this in a minute, some difficulties to sticking to the straight and narrow path, what made the three of you what made you three change if you are the exception, right? What was it?
For me, I would say, let's say you ask me what caused me to change. I sick and tired of myself, number one. If you read the story also, I was staying at my brother's place in Serangoon Gardens. And because I stay in a landed property address, I tell you, the pushers very happy one. They will send it to your house because they are not afraid you run away because your house is very, they know where to locate you. So what they will send to my house, they would regularly bring the drug to me. So, and then I realized actually I'm making my brother's place a kind of a den. And I really felt lost. And the reason he allows me to stay there because of his love for my mother also. And my mother always say, your two brothers must this, that, must that. So he will open his house to me. And I have to make his house to become like a drug den, people coming in to sell me drugs and all this kind of thing. So I felt very lousy. So one day I just decided to go to IMH, like I mentioned. What actually, besides faith, caused me to move on was peers, people. Sometimes as people who in addiction or in what, we always feel kind of left out. We don't feel together with anybody. So there was this group of they were residents, but we managed to get together and then we kind of support each other. That actually became my ammunition for advancement. I realized, hey, I got a group of friends, group of peers. We can move on together. I think that was what that does it. And also the halfway house have an effect because they give me after my finished program, they offered me a job to continue working there, which is not a very common career path now for people. Now you finish, you go out, you find a job, and then basically that's it. But in the halfway house that I stay in, and I think Bruce will know, they will employ people who have gone through the program. Then I went to I studied a bit. I went for my diploma, do social work, social studies, and then became a program manager.
I guess for me it was one episode in prison. It's quite well publicized already. An episode with my daughter when she came for a visit. Her birthday, she wanted me to carry her. I could not. That broke my heart. And that really set me on a path towards change. In prison back then, I made up my mind that this was going to be my last time. And I set goals to move towards that aim. And I've been keeping on the straight and narrow ever since. After prison, I've been out close to 7 years. I know how it is like. I mean, I've wasted 30 years in prison. I've wasted nearly my whole life either in prison or in the bondage of drugs. And everyone only has one life to live. To me, I would not want anyone to be in my shoes. Okay? So I believe there are two ways of learning things. One is you learn from others' mistakes. That is why I'm out there sharing my life story, hoping that people will listen and learn, and I could help them shorten their learning curve. The next way of learning is face the music yourself. And that I would not want to wish it upon anybody.
But you really changed because of your daughter.
because of two things. My daughter was my motivation to change,
Yeah.
but I lack the strength. Of course, my strength is my faith,
Right.
my faith in my God. Yeah.
Your faith in God, yeah. Can you expand on that?
Well, I've tried quitting drugs for 20 over years. I never really succeeded. Like what Samuel said, addiction, trying to quit addiction, it's a whole different ballgame altogether. When the withdrawal kicks in, you'll do just about anything to get drugs. During my withdrawal, I've sat on a ledge a few times, telling myself, why do I need to go through this? Might as well just jump and, end of story. I don't deny that. I have done it many times. So has a lot of other people. So I know addiction is a really freak out thing. Okay, I've tried many times. I couldn't help myself. First time in 30 years, after watching my daughter cry, that really broke my heart. I think it took the tears of my daughter to melt my heart of stone.
Wow. Thank you.
I guess God sent my daughter down to be my motivation. But although I had the motivation, I knew I lacked the strength. Okay. Because if I'm strong-willed, I will not be a drug addict in the first place. Being a drug addict goes to show that I'm weak-willed. I knew I needed a higher power to help me. That is why I rededicated my life back to God. And when I did so, I found the strength to change. So this two, for me, works hand in hand. One won't work without the other.
Yeah. Thank you, Bruce, for being so vulnerable and open with us. Popo?
Okay, so for me, right, why I want to change, my reasons, my strength, my everything, right, I'd say God. Like, personally speaking, as a human being, I love the drugs that I take. I love the high. I love everything about it. That's why I keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Does it feel good? Yes. Can I quit? Personally speaking, I don't want to if I had a choice. But like the thing that makes me able to do this and want to do this, I feel like it is God. This is just obviously my subjective opinion. And without God, I don't think I can do this or want to do this.
So it's like a moment of clarity.
Not a moment, like I think it's a continuous thing. It's not like just one day suddenly God come to me like, oh Popo, you need to change all this kind of thing. Oh really? It's not like that lah. It's like a continuous thing.
Yeah.
I think what Popo is trying to say is our faith has shown us an alternative life
Yeah.
that is
Yes.
so much more beautiful than the life we had.
Correct. Yeah.
When we were in the grips of drugs, I tell you, Sharda, we never thought about anything but drugs. Our life totally revolved around drugs. We were so blinded by the narcotics that we have pumped into our own bodies that we absolutely can't see anything 2 feet in front of us.
Completely blinded.
Yeah. But God, when we started getting close to God, God showed us an alternative, all right, that we would never see.
Yeah.
Show us a life that's so possible for
And
us.
this is supernatural.
Yeah, I totally agree with the both of you. Thank you very much to the three of you for sharing your very powerful stories with us and being so vulnerable. I really appreciate that. Now we're going to move into part 3, where we look at how ex-offenders are giving back to society. So please stay tuned.